I call the Newberry County Board of Zoning and Appeal to order on December the 7th, 2021 at 5:30. Before we get started, I got a couple of housekeeping items we need to take care of. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off or mute it so that it will not interrupt the meeting. And if you're going to speak for or against any case that we're considering tonight, we have 3 cases. Please make sure you sign in, and if you sign in, you are considered, if you're speaking, you are considered to be under oath. And if you are speaking, we'll ask you to come to the podium over here to my left. State your name and address for the records, please. As I stated, we have 3 cases considered tonight. Once your case has been heard, you may stay with us for the remainder, or you may excuse yourself and quietly leave to the door on my right. Okay. Each of you board members should have already received a copy of the minutes for the November the 2nd. What are the wishes of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes as received.
Ms. Coleman makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Boland seconds. Any discussion, additions, or correction? All in favor of the minutes as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved as presented. There is no old business to be considered tonight on the agenda. I do have one item to add at the bottom, and that is the schedule of meetings for next year. So we'll bring that up after the cases. The first case is as follows. Case number VA 01-12-07-21. This is a variance request for a 5-foot side yard setback for a new manufactured home. The property is located at 1062 Leisure Point Road, Prosperity, South Carolina. Tax map number 532-1-39. Ms. Wertz.
The resident is asking for a 5-foot side yard setback for a new manufactured home. The existing septic system prevents the new manufactured home from being placed in a location that would meet all of the required setbacks. Staff does recommend this variance.
Okay, you heard the staff consideration and recommendation. Are there any questions of Ms. Wertz? Okay, thank you, Ms. Wertz. Is there anyone here speaking for this requested variance? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Could you please step to the podium?
If you're able.
If you're able. If you're not, just stand right there. That's fine.
Thank you. I'm getting old now.
I know how that is, too.
We can all relate.
I'm the owner of that property, and I bought that property back in 1969 and had that mobile home a little after that. But what I have now, the problem is now, I have a septic tank issue. When I had it marked off, it was right. But when they put the mobile home when I had it marked off there, the mobile home door would have been over the septic tank. The step would have been over the septic tank. So I had to move it back so the door wouldn't be over the septic tank. And by me moving it back, I kind of changed the line on the 5-foot side. So that's the problem I'm having, and I couldn't get it inspected because of that. But other than that, that's about all
Okay.
all I have issues with that. But the mobile home is in the right place. And the only thing I have to do, I had to move it back some. When I moved back, my lot goes like that,
Yes, sir.
And when you come back, I got a little close to the line on the other side. And that issue I have.
Okay. And your name is Mr.
Levi
Perry?
Perry, yes.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Perry? If not, thank you, Mr. Perry. Is anyone here speaking against this variance request? Hearing none, board members, you have heard the request of Mr. Perry, and we need to consider his request, and you must take this into consideration prior to the action, please. We're required to consider the following factors per section 153.052 A through F of the zoning ordinance. 153.052 C 1 through 5. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity or in that district. And 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict use of the property. 4, the authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting of the variance. And 5, the effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries as shown on the official zoning map. We also need to consider 153.172, the lot area width setback requirements in our table. You've heard the request. What's the wishes of this board, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the variance at 1062 Leisure Point Road. I'm familiar with the area, and most of the other homes in the area are manufactured homes as well.
Okay, Ms. Coleman motions. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Lister seconds. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor of granting the variance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Perry, your variance has been approved. You have to wait a certain stipulation to be with Ms. Bridget and Ms. Wertz, and they'll tell you where to go from there. And thank you very much. Okay, the next is case number VA02-12-07-21. This is a request for a 13-foot front yard setback for a 30 by 192-foot open pole building for boat and RV storage. The property is located at 95A State Park Road, Prosperity, South Carolina, tax map number 651-60. Ms. Wertz?
The property owner is asking for a variance for a 13-foot front yard setback for a 30 by 192-foot open pole building for the boat and RV storage. An existing building on the property is also only 13 foot from the road right-of-way and did get approved from the BZA for a variance. The property owner is wanting to put this building right beside the existing, so the staff does recommend this variance.
Any questions of Ms. Wertz? If not, thank you, Ms. Wertz. Is there anyone here speaking in favor of this variance request? Bridget?
Just wanted to let you guys know that the owner had already had plans to be out of town, but he, would have been here if he could.
All right. Anyone else speaking in favor of it? Is there anyone here speaking against this variance request? Hearing none, we'll move forward. And we must consider, as before, 153.052 A through F of the zoning ordinance, 153.052 C 1 through 5. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity or in that district. 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to this particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict utilization of the property. The authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. And 5, the effect of the variance will not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Again, we refer to the zoning ordinance table 153.172 concerning the area, width, and setback requirements. Board, you've heard the request. What is the wishes of this board?
Mr. Chairman, I'm familiar with the property and the property owner. We've accommodated Mr. Bundert before on this same property, made a couple modifications. I move to accept as requested.
Mr. Boland moved acceptance.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
Mr. Ransdale seconds. Any further questions, discussions? All in favor of granting this request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the variance is approved. Ms. Bridget? Ms. Wertz? Okay, our next case is VA 03-12-07-21. This is a variance request for the relief of the average of the 123-foot setback from the 360 contour of Lake Murray for the placement of a new covered porch on the existing house. The property is located at 295 Tom Savage Road, Prosperity, tax map number 589-1-13. Ms. Wertz.
The residents are asking for a variance request for the relief of the average of the 123-foot setback from the 360 contour of Lake Murray for the placement of a new covered porch to an existing house. So with the house being existing, adding a porch is really the only location they can go. So the staff does recommend this variance.
Any questions of Ms. Wertz? Hearing none, is there anyone here requesting this variance? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir, when you get to the podium.
Thank you. My name is Robert Harmon. I'm authorized representative for Mr. Sims, the property owner. Like she said, the residence is already existing. It's a covered porch. It's going to be added to the front of the home. It certainly keeps it's consistent with the neighborhood and everything that's there and doesn't impede anybody else's view or anybody else's property, and as well outside of the Lake Murray buffer zone for Dominion Energy.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone here opposing this request for a variance? Hearing none and seeing none, we must consider the following before acting, please. And I know this sounds redundant, but we are required to do this. We got in a situation one time, a long time ago, and we spent the night here almost. Board is required to consider the following factors per section 153.052 A through F and 153.168 of the zoning ordinance. 153.052 C 1 through 5. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. 2, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity or in that district. 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the use of the property. The authorization of the variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. And 5, the effect of the variance will not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map, and will again consider the 153.168 setback from the lake shore as per the zoning ordinance. You've heard the request. What's the wishes of the board?
Move it be approved.
Mr. Lister, motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
Mr. Ransdale, second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of granting this request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Your request is granted, and you have to get with Ms. Bridget and Ms. Wertz and take it from there. That concludes our case study, but you have each been given a copy of the proposed schedule of meetings for next year. You please consider it and be set for another meeting. And tonight is my final amen. I've been on this board for years, and I want to thank this board for being committed and dedicated to the service to Newberry County and its citizens. I've enjoyed my time, but when you turn 80 years old, it's time to step away. So I am, as of tonight, ending my tenure on this
How
board.
many years you been here?
I don't have a clue. But it's been quite an experience. But
Really appreciate
I've enjoyed everybody's support and participation, and we'll go from there. Our next scheduled Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, or y'all's meeting, is January the 4th, 2022 at 5:30. Is there any? Yes, ma'am.
We do have business for that meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll miss you, but I won't miss the other stuff. All right. I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, if there's no further business, move for the adjournment of our meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Coleman moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Ransdale seconds. We are therefore adjourned.